Welcome back to another installment of Rake in Position. It's been a minute, but we're excited to be back with you all this week. I am Aaron, the host.
I am Joe, the groundskeeper. Remember, listeners, heroes get remembered, but legends never die.
Legends never die. My son falls asleep to that every night, so I hear it about a million times.
I am Jaylee the Rover.
And I'm Corey the Statman?
Snapman.
Snapman, hey! That's funny. I was thinking Snapchat, but I like this better. That's great.
Corey, where's your rake?
I've gotten into slam poetry lately. It's on the other side of the room.
Can you get it in the
right.
frame, please?
Yeah.
I will almost certainly knock something over if I go and get it, so I'm not going to try and get up
Does
out
the
of my
rake
desk.
have a name?
It can. It's
Well,
about to be an actual
should.
used rake, I think, soon. So it might live in my garage.
Well, it needs to make its
Feature.
way to this room when this is happening.
Okay, well, I'm going to get dirt everywhere at that point.
And then you rake it.
My basement?
Alrighty, let's move on to Rakings. So just to recap where we were at a couple weeks ago, last time we met, we've had some different work things, different family things going on, and so it's been hard to meet up, but we're excited to be here, but it has been a minute. So last time we got together, the Rays were in first with 19 votes, Braves had 16, Orioles 11, Diamondbacks 5, Rangers 4. Got a little shakeup at the top this week and a little movement at the bottom, but a lot of teams that we're familiar with. Without further ado, in fifth place with a fourth place vote and 2/5 were the Dodgers. So somebody didn't vote for the Dodgers. In fourth place, hanging on there, the Rangers with a third and a fourth. So they got 2 votes, but still beat out the Dodgers. Orioles still strong with 11 once again in the 3 spot. Rays in second with 16, which means your boys are unanimous number 1 coming out of the All-Star break. Well done, everybody.
Yay.
Have a good night. Don't forget to.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Settle down now. Settle
Oh,
down.
my bad. So let's talk about some of those at the bottom real quick. Somebody voted for the Marlins this week. Who wants to claim that? All right. Yeah, we've been talking
That's
about the
helpful
Marlins
for our
off and
audio
on.
listeners.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, me.
That was Jared.
The Rover.
We've been giving some love to them, keeping an eye on them, and they just continue to win games when it looks like they shouldn't. But yeah, they're at the second place in a decent NL East. And then the other team that got votes that did not make the top 5 was the Diamondbacks.
Oh no!
They got a 4th and a 5th.
So sad.
I voted them 4th, and I had the Dodgers 5th. So who else voted for them? Corey, did you vote the other way?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, you had Diamondbacks 5th, Dodgers 4th.
Yeah.
So who else voted for the Dodgers? Who else gave them some love?
I think
Jay Lee, did you say you did not? I really should start remembering who I voted for. I guess.
Yes.
It
You
must have
did.
been me. It must have been me. I put him
Yeah,
what,
I think
fifth?
Jared gave his 5th place to the Marlins. So the 5th place vote for the Dodgers was Joe.
That sounds right. Yep.
Yeah, that
Thanks,
West
Corey.
has been playing better. It's been tightening up. Diamondbacks and Dodgers have pretty much been at the top, going back and forth all year. But San Fran had that great run, kind of closing out June to get back in the mix of things. And San Diego's like not that far gone from the wild card, and they got
Yeah,
so
no.
much star power. You just think that they're going to do something. But who
The
knows?
Rockies are right there too.
And then there's the Rockies.
Yeah,
If you've got a worse record, never mind. I'm not gonna say
negative 147 run differential.
it.
No, you can say it. Go ahead and say it.
well, if you got a worse record than Nationals, you shouldn't get talked about. That's what I was gonna say.
Well,
Oh, I thought
we
you
have
were
to
going
mention
somewhere.
every team at least once at some point, so we're gonna at least check the Rockies off on that.
There we
Yes.
go. Yeah, we talked about them this year. So there
Yep.
you go.
All right, moving on.
Anything else to talk about the rankings there?
I think you've got the three, maybe 4 with the Rangers. I mean, the Rangers' record's still good, but they kind of fell into the break more so than kind of they're 3-7 in the last 10. And then that 5th spot again, I think we're kind of at a spot where it could be 4 or 5 different teams, which it obviously showed. But yeah, I think the top's the Braves and the Rays, and then the Orioles are keeping close.
Yeah.
I want to say I
any
had.
other division, they probably get more votes.
Yeah.
I mean the Braves must have like Rick Ross in the dugout or something, just saying all we do is win, win, win. So that's the unanimous number one there was pretty easy. Tampa Bay's not liquid magma hot, but they're still crushing it. I think their run differential is still number one, right? Even after
By 1 over the
It's
Rangers.
close.
by 2. Okay, by 1 over the Rangers.
Yeah.
And I had the Rangers third. There was a cool stat during the All-Star game I saw that it's only like the second or third time that 6 players have been on the field from one team. It was 6
That's
Rangers.
crazy.
I was confused by that because didn't Kansas City like vote 8 starters after they went to the World Series? And
Cubs did that too.
Yeah, so I was confused by
I
that
don't know.
stat.
I don't know if the like on the field at one time maybe is where they were going with that. I don't know. And I still think they have players that are kind of playing. They're having their career year, or
Yeah,
they're having a
Acuña's kind of a
career half a
scrub.
season.
Mhm.
So I still don't think they're like a contender for the World Series, but you never
We're
know.
talking about the Rangers.
Yeah, we're kind of all over with the Rangers because somebody gave them a third, somebody gave them a fourth, and then 2 of us didn't vote for them. I know I didn't vote for them.
I did not either. I mean,
Yeah.
they were I think they were my 6th team.
Yeah, I mean they're only plus 148 run differential. They're probably not worth any votes at all.
I think right now it's today. All these teams in our top 5 would beat them. I mean, they lost 3 straight series to kick off July. One was the Nationals, and then coming out of the break, they've got Cleveland, Tampa, Dodgers, Houston, and then Padres. So we'll see if they can right the ship. If they can't beat the Nationals, if that's all the better they're playing right now, then this next couple weeks could really beat them up. But it could really prove too, because some of their all-stars. I mean, like rookie Young, he was first-time all-star. Himes a first-time all-star. So maybe these guys have figured it out. I'm not convinced totally yet, but
I mean, and also just because somebody's an all-star doesn't necessarily mean they're having a great year. It means that their fans did a lot of voting.
yeah, these guys are having good years though.
Yeah.
They all.
They
There's
are,
always
but
somebody should be on there, but
yes,
I had no problem with these guys being all-stars.
Yeah.
So that's good. Anything else with those guys before we talk about some teams we're expecting to surge in the second half here? To jump into our top 5. So let's talk about some of those guys then. What are some teams that we expect over the next couple of weeks to make a run at our top 5 and to kind of turn things around coming out of the All-Star break?
Yeah. So I mean, I picked the Phillies to win the East, and while that seems unlikely, I do think they're on the way up. They are finally in the positives in the run differential side. They're 48 and 41, and if they didn't have the Braves leading the division, that wouldn't be that bad as far as still competing for the division. They're 12 games back, but they are only a half game back of the wild card. I think their offense has always been there. Schwarber has not done well, and I think he is a much better hitter than he has showed so far this year. I mean, every spot in the lineup, I think they third base. It just depends what Alec Baum feels like he wants to do as far as and where he's playing, whether it's third base or first.
Yeah,
base.
he's been mainly first, and Sosa's been playing third for defensive purposes.
Mm-hmm. And so if you want a little bit better guy there, but I think there's a few teams that could use a third baseman, to be honest. But Nick Castellanos, his favorite superhero is Scooby-Doo, because it's a talking dog. Like what else? What else do you want? It solves crimes.
Nice.
Yeah. I loved Nick Castellanos. He had a brief stint with the Cubs, and he was just always a fun guy. JT, best catcher in the league right now.
Whoa.
Best defensive catcher in the league right now.
Sean Murphy like to have a talk.
Best defensive catcher in the league right now. Sorry. I would still say best overall catcher in the league. Um,
And fighting words.
okay, that's a different day. I mean, I every team, no team's ever happy with their pitching. So every team,
Mhm.
I think they could use a starter. They got Christopher Sanchez, who's having a great year, but I don't. Other than his 2.84 ERA in 25 innings, I have no idea. That's a tiny sample size. I don't have a lot of faith that he's going to keep that up. Um, Suarez has been okay. Walker's been pretty good. Wheeler can be great. Nolo can be great. So like they got pieces, and I think they're starting to turn around. I think they continue to do so. Maybe crack the top 5 here soon. Again, I know we talked about the Marlins and how they win games that they maybe shouldn't. I think the Phillies will be in second place in that division sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think the Phillies. I didn't realize how good they've been playing because they've actually lost ground to the Braves. But Buster only put this out there: last 6 weeks since June, beginning of June, they're 23-9 with a 2.96 ERA, and that's without Turner and Harper being Turner and Harper. Harper's fine; he's not slugging at all, and Turner can't be this bad the whole second half. Like, even if he hits 260 the rest of the year, that's a huge improvement, So, yeah, it'd be interesting.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing as I mean, Schwarber's not an average guy, but he's hitting 180. He's better than a 180 guy.
Yeah, he's only hitting homers right now. His OPS plus is 100. I was looking at that right now. Like the regular 9 guys, Schwarber and everybody else is 100 or higher. Turner's at 88. Sosa's at 81. Turner, you expect to be better than that. Sosa, that's probably who he is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, finding third baseman and a back end starter. They don't need a top flight guy. They need a 5th guy to get into the rest of the season that you can just ignore at the playoffs. And, yeah, they're going to be a diddly team. Sticking in the East, Jared, you voted for the Marlins.
I did. Only because of their sweet colors.
Sweet colors.
Ooh,
okay.
Man, we're gonna have a AL East showdown here. Good thing we're all separated. Go ahead.
No, I picked them because, contrary to what you guys have said about games they probably shouldn't have won, which, looking at these team stats, you're probably right. Man, they only have 3 players with 10 home runs or more, which is kind of wild. And there's a De La Cruz on this squad that's trying to make a name for himself instead of that kid over in Cincinnati. So that's fun to see. I mean, obviously, Luis Reyes is their bright spot with him chasing 400. But I mean, Jorge Soler is being a beast. I mean, batting 250, but I mean, he's playing pretty well, honestly. And then again, they're doing this without the 2 faces of their franchise with Jazz, and I mean, Alcantara is like 3-7 with going over 4 ERA.
What's going on there?
And that's what's crazy. No idea, but it's crazy to see these teams. I mean, they've won 53 games. Yeah, 53 games. You're still 8.5 back from the Braves, but to not do it with your top 2 players like that, I mean, that's got to prove something. So if those guys turn it around, I mean, you could easily see them making a run. Probably not catching the Braves the way the Braves are playing, but I mean, could easily sneak into a wild card. And then this better than, well, we all know this. Like, you make the playoffs in baseball, it doesn't matter what your record is. If you're the hot team, you can go as far as the team will take you. So,
and none of us would bet against Sandy dominate the playoffs. Like, all of a sudden it clicks.
Correct. So yeah, I mean, I think again there are probably a few pieces that they might try to, but I mean, it is Miami. You never really see them try to blow the budget up too much. So we'll see. Honestly, the AL East could get pretty exciting if the Braves cool off a little bit, which again don't see happening, but could happen with, I think, the Phillies and Marlins making a run for it.
The Marlins are another.
Let's take a real quick poll.
Okay,
especially for you, Corey. You're the stat man. You'll like this. What do we think? What do we think Luis ends the year at? I'll say like 370. Let's go 372.
Are we getting that specific? I guess I'll put this. I'll document this
Yeah,
somewhere.
you need to.
Let's do it. I got a random contest
We need
here.
a chart. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do the all out.
I don't want to. I don't want to hijack the
rise
segment,
column.
so make it fast.
Yeah, we're good. So you say 372?
Yeah, nobody's hitting 400, dude. It's not
He's
happening.
already at 383. To add 17 points at this point, that's
And
going to be impossible.
I didn't. I thought he was still in the upper 380s. I didn't know he'd.
Yeah.
Drop.
I'll say
Too bad the All-Star
375.
game doesn't count.
Yeah, 2 pitches, 2 hits. I'll say 375.
Oh, really breaking the mold there. I'll say 387.
Cool. I got faith. I'm going 401.
All right.
I hope you're right.
So. Yeah, that'd be
for
awesome.
sure. Nice.
I'm not gonna
nice,
lose
nice.
a contest doing that. Yeah, both of those teams are fun to think about because the Phillies have always been aggressive. They're going to do what they can to fix things. The Marlins have not been in this position since the new ownership bought the team, 5-6 years ago? And we haven't seen Kim Ing in charge of a winning team either. So how aggressive? What's her style going to be? The bigger issue, both teams, Phillies and Marlins, both need a third baseman. That's their weakest spot. There's a couple
Marlins
guys
can do
out
it
there.
in-house.
Yeah, the Marlins could, but Gorshin's is their best guy, and he's having a horrible year at AAA.
Well, they've got
the
Amaya,
Edwards guy and
Edwards,
Amaya, who could slide over there, or maybe move Wendell over. Wendell is basically like your standard definition of league average. He's average defensively, average hitter, so you could improve there, but you could be fine leave him at short. But the catcher spot for Miami, it's hard to upgrade catcher, and their two catchers OPSs 549 for Fortes and 563 for Stallings. So
Yeah, give Corey a call.
yeah. So I don't know. Like, is Diaz in Colorado going to get shipped out? He's 32. He's your biggest trade piece, but Colorado never does anything. Grandal, the White Sox, do you move him? Other than that, like, can you upgrade catcher? I don't know. But both these teams don't need a frontline starter. They both need a fifth starter to get them through the season. And they both need a third baseman. So they're going to be in the same market for a lot of these guys. So it'll be interesting to see. We know the Phillies will be aggressive. It'll be interesting to see if the Marlins actually go for it.
Cardinals might have a guy they'd move at catcher, but
Andrew
contract's too big.
yeah.
So Joe takes the American League. You had a team on your mind that you're looking for the next second
but
half.
you know what? You know what we're doing here?
What's that?
What are we just in general? What are we doing here? 6. What's that mean, Corey?
No, it's a
serious
two
number?
digits. 2 digits. It's a 2-digit number.
It's a 51 on my
51?
screen.
Oh well,
1
then
5?
on mine it's backwards. There you go.
1
15.
5.
Okay, well
I
nobody
know
knows what that means, but
No, I do.
No.
I do. Can I say it?
Oh, winning. I know. I got you.
Going to win the division by 15
oh,
games.
take it by 15. Well, what we're doing here is so I said I was going to talk about Cleveland. Well, guess what? I'm not talking about Cleveland.
Shocker.
I knew it.
We're on a baseball podcast, baby. What do you call this?
Uncle
A
Chuck.
home run.
That's
home run.
That's the Clayton Kershaw Cooperstown curve.
Yeah, baby, that's curveball. So, I mean, I think it's kind of weak me picking this team. I think it's kind of easy pickings, which is good for me because my brain's small and I don't look up a bunch of stats. I'm more of a feel player. So anyway, I've talked about these guys more than once from the very beginning, and Jay Lee, you're actually wearing the hat, but I just keep looking at San Diego. I know they're in third place, but there's not a lot of weak spots on the team. I mean, yeah, every team has a few weak spots, and I think they have as few as the elite teams. I said that kind of weird, but
Juan Soto's getting traded, man. He bye-bye.
Well, if they trade Juan Soto, I rescind the statement. But I mean, their lineup is still good enough, and not all these guys are having like middling seasons. If one or two guys turn it on the second half in their lineup, their pitching is still Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, the 1, 2, 3.
Blake Snell's dominating.
He is dominating.
Michael
He might get traded
Walker.
too.
Yeah,
Somehow, Michael Walker. True or false? What have I said about Michael Walker? Somebody who's
he's the only baseball player you like in the world.
Yeah, what the heck? Now he's 8-2 with a 1.07 whip. So, and then you got Hader at slamming the door on the bullpen. I know we keep saying if they can put it together, but maybe the second half is where they put it together. And like you said about the Phillies, like, any big market team who's like close to contending, they're going to make a move at the deadline. And, I don't know if the Padres like try to pick up a first baseman, or I see Gary Sanchez is catching the majority of the games, batting 198 with no power. So, maybe they pick up a bat, maybe they pick up an arm. And I mean, I think they could win the division, and I have to stick with them winning the World Series because that's what I picked. But so that's the team I picked. I know it's kind of easy pickings because of all the big names, but I felt I could defend them a lot easier than Cleveland, even though, hey, Cleveland's in first now, going to run away with it in the second half.
They could win it by 15 still. It's probably pretty easily.
I say 15 or 12.
15.
You said 15.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in San Diego, I mean, what, 8 games out of division? Is that right?
8.5.
8.5.
Is it that
6 out of the
much?
wild card.
We've seen 10-game leads crumble in September, so it can happen in the whole second half. Getting 8.5 games, but they don't even have to do that. They can sneak into the third wild card spot and be a force in the playoffs.
Yeah, and if you look at like
their
Michael Walker is not going to
he
continue.
pitches that tiebreaker game. Get him in.
Maybe
the
Bieber
DS.
gets traded over there.
Yeah.
Justin?
And if like their expected win loss is one of the biggest flips. I guess I'm kind of making that up as I randomly look here, but they got like a 6-game flip on their expected win loss. They're got a little unlucky, so we'll see what happens second half.
Yeah, I mean, they need first base. They could be fine at catcher, whatever. They can upgrade first and DH very easily with bats, and their offense would take another step forward. They cut Nelson Cruz, finally let him go.
I was just getting ready to say that. So you might want to take your statement back. Without Nelson Cruz, they ain't nothing.
Hey, I
that
think
means more Matt Carpenter's what that means.
Well, you don't want to look at his stat line either. But
No, it's
Nelson.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure,
if this is
but-
Nelson's fat
Last
lady
stand.
singing, yeah, he's
Hall of Famer.
He's probably Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it'll be interesting with these guys that have some connections to PEDs.
You want to talk about a prototypical you hit, you play. I mean, Nelson Cruz is getting 20 million a year living on that.
That's great. All right, so that kind of wraps up our rankings. Some teams to look out for: Phillies, Marlins, and Padres. Be interesting to keep an eye on those guys with different philosophies overall as franchises. How trade deadline now is 3 weeks away, about 3 weeks away, so it's gonna be fast and furious coming out of the All-Star break. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some trades happen tomorrow on the day off before games start back up. So,
yep, it'll be exciting up until the first.
Well, who wants to talk about some All-Star festivities? Huh?
I can move us into that. We did a thing off pod that we talked about since we didn't. We had a few things come up where we did a home run derby draft based on our weekend series prediction records up to this point. Snake style. Joe had the first pick, took Pete Alonso. Safe pick. Unfortunately, he ran into a
too safe, man.
immovable object of J-Rod, which was Jared's first pick, followed by Aaron taking Luis Robert. I took so I had the wraparound, so you could say 4 or 5, whatever. Adolis and Vlad. Can't believe you guys let Vlad slide to the end.
Dude, Robert had the biggest homers. I knew I had a good pick.
We can't believe
do you want to show that text?
We can't believe you didn't take a catcher.
Well,
a catcher finally made it. So that's more the surprise.
I was
to me.
so ready for Corey to eat crow on that. Adley was a blast to watch.
Oh man,
him and Julio's first rounds were the highlight. The whole thing.
I made a comment how if they extend Adley, I was buying a jersey. I was looking at him after that first round. I was like, all right, I'm sold. This guy's my favorite player in the league. But anyway, I ended up winning. The rest of the Cooney took bets. Jared had Randy, and then that left Adley with the last pick with Joe. So,
actually, Cooney took Randy. Then we made a trade off screen.
Yeah, I got too.
There's some money under the
analytical.
table.
I took Randy. I didn't want Betts. I knew Betts was the worst pick. I should have taken Adley maybe, but I took Betts because he was on the opposite side of the bracket as Robert, and so I knew between Robert and Randy they couldn't both get to the championship. So that's why I was like, yeah, you
Mhm.
take Randy, and so Betts was the only one left over there. I got
Yeah,
I got too creative.
I did
Got
really
fired.
appreciate Betts, like coming into that with no expectations whatsoever. He's like, and that was fun. I remember, not that this is the same thing, but I like Brett Boone, I think, did a home run derby one time and he actually swung and missed. And I was like, well, you can't be that bad, I guess. But the one thing I will say about the home run derby is I'm sure it's a blast in person, hard to watch on TV because all you see is the guy swinging. I have absolutely no idea where any of the balls are going.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah, I kind of let me cut you off.
No, go
I
ahead.
kind of miss the part, like I know there's a time limit now, so they're swinging as many as they can. I kind of miss when it was the 10 outs because you could watch the homers and how far they went.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Like now you're just like there's some that he hits and I'm like, did that even go? And then
back.
his home run total goes from 1 to 5. And I'm like, when did he hit 4 home runs?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Especially Julio there. Julio was like,
Yeah.
When
he got like
so-
6 out in like 10 seconds, it seemed like, and
So
Cracker just kept going.
yeah, on that a little bit. I didn't get to watch the home run derby. I watched the game the other night, but I had a buddy at work tell me like he hit what was it, 41, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
41 in 4 minutes. I said, 41 homers in 4 minutes.
Dude.
That's such a rapid pace, you know.
Yeah.
We'd be winded after 6 swings that quick.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mhm.
crazy.
And that was the first round, he tailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Plus, that's
they're
adrenaline going against Alonso. Little rematch there. But yeah, he wasn't the same after that. And then Robert pulled his calf.
Yeah, he hurt himself.
And so he didn't even play in the All-Star game. I hope that guy can stay healthy. Like,
Yeah.
he seems to be like Trout or Acuna. If he could just stay healthy, he's got all the
Mhm.
tools.
No, I love the home run derby. I agree that something has, because again, being there, I imagine just like it is so rapid pace and it would be awesome. I mean, there's probably 3 balls in the air at some point, which is
Well, that poor kid got drilled. You see that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it
Dude.
finally happened. We've talked about
we've
it
been
many
joking
times, like,
about that
how many
forever,
times,
but golly.
but yeah, dude,
I-
that kid got
I-
smoked.
yeah, I
I think it
read
was
that he's-
115 off the bat.
Off Lad. So you know I had a little bit
Yeah.
extra more on it.
yeah, I think he's all right, but man,
That dude
No,
should get like season
they-
tickets to Seattle or whatever.
I saw that there was a because it happened a couple years ago with Alonso, and like I don't know, there was the cameraman. Yeah, he was dancing, so the cameraman was on the kid getting like helped off the field, and then they cut to Alonso who's like doing a dance, and it's just like that's the worst producing. of
worst
any-
timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Like,
was
he was
bad.
like, he was like, okay, go back to Pete, and Pete's like doing a dance, like, oh yeah, man.
But I
10
mean,
points
more of
for
these
me.
kids are going to get drilled when there's a time and they're swinging as fast as
Exactly.
they can for as many
Yeah.
as they can.
Yeah.
Like, don't have the kids on the field then if that's the case.
You know, quickly, that gives me a terrible flashback. Goonie, you might remember this. So, hey, Jay Lee, you might like this too. So I guess you could say, is it the rover or what do you call the guy with the bag that's catching the ball?
Yeah.
Shag guy. Yeah,
Shag guy,
shagging. So somebody's taking BP and then another guy is catching all the balls that get thrown back in. And I took one straight to the side of the head one time, line drive, because I was paying attention to another ball. And I would think
man.
they would have to make some changes coming into next year's draft.
Dude. He was right behind second base in the grass, looking to the outfield to catch a ball coming, and he's carrying that bag around. We were sophomores.
Black bag.
No, it was 8th grade. It's all bright.
Yeah.
Was that 8th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 7th grade? And just
It was square.
and he grabs a hold of Albright's shoulders and he's oh man.
Yeah, I mean, at least you didn't get it in like the eye or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It
a
was
silver
smoke.
lining.
I remember I
guess.
had a scab all the way across the top of my ear because it like hit right there and like smushed it into my head.
Gross.
Well, I'm with you, Jared. I say go back to the 10 outs, a little more dramatic, enjoy it a little bit more. Won't have so many homers, but and also be safer for the Shag team.
Yeah.
So
Did it seem like it felt like distance? There was no like 470, 480.
what are you swinging that quick? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Yeah, Robert hit 483, I think was the longest. And then he had a couple 470s.
Like air does a lot. Like I imagine like the air is pretty heavy there. It's just I don't know,
Yeah.
like it rains a lot. I have no idea. I'm not. Somebody needs to call Mike Trout and figure out what the air's like in the Pacific Northwest. But
Why Mike Trout?
he loves weather. He goes on the Weather Channel and does like weather reports sometimes.
Okay, moving
know that?
on.
There
We
it
got
is.
another fun segment here that our stat man's bringing us. A little draft.
I mean, do we want to talk
we're going
about
to talk
the
about the
game?
All-Star game. Let's talk about the All-Star game. I was
It
trying
was
to.
fine.
I was trying to.
I'll be
Stop
honest.
talking about the weather. I don't.
I didn't watch it, so sorry, guys.
I watched
couldn't watch it.
highlights
I was
right
working.
before this, so it was okay. Like it was 3-2. I don't know. Like,
I want it in a
Yay.
tie. I want to
Yay
see
that
the
the-
walk-off home run derby. That's what I want to see.
Well, at least the National League one.
Because the new rules are if it's a tie, each team picks 3 people and they each get 3 swings. Most homer wins. Like that'd be better than the derby.
who do you pick?
Oh, Acuna, Freddie.
Riley, Olson, Albies.
Look at the last
Max
couple years.
Fried.
Michael Harris, Spencer
No, not Harris.
Strider.
I would take Olson or Riley to home run derby. You kidding me? Yeah.
Kirby Yates.
They're the top 10 in homers.
Kirby
the
Yates
last
can't
couple years.
pitch, but he's coming in for the home run derby.
He's pitching just fine. You leave Kirby out of this.
I mean, Freddie's probably a solid choice.
Yeah, I don't know if they have to be
Choice.
on the team or.
I ain't taking Freddie in no home run derby. Are you guys smoking crack?
One swing, I'll take it.
No,
At that field,
He's trying
yeah,
to
I'll
hit
take it.
homers.
no. If he's trying to hit homers, he should have spent the last 12 years trying to hit homers.
I mean, he's not had a lack of homers over the past
Yeah,
12 years.
what are you talking about?
We're talking about Freddie Freeman?
Yeah.
You want to go look at his
First
homer
baseman.
stats?
He's
Yeah,
got
go
more
for it.
homers than I do, so I'm not going to talk about it.
Well,
Not
you
as
won
many
that
as
argument.
Olsen,
Never
though.
mind.
Oh, so now we're on the Matt Olson train. Now that Freddie's, I believe there was
You
a
said
cry face
Olsen.
after I said 1-2.
I would do Olsen. That would be a good pick. I was thinking of the starting lineup. That's
Freddie
why.
has 300 home runs. Like he's pretty good.
Okay, start reading off his season by season homers.
He's gotten better. He's gotten yeah.
He had
He did
38
hit
in
many
2019.
Oh, we're jumping straight to his highest totals.
He had
Wow, am I
34 in
watching the news?
2016. I don't know what you want from me. They're all.
He had
I'm
18 in
saying there are
2020.
better home run hitters than Freddie.
I think if in
And the
a
National
DP
League
setting-
All-Star team, though, yeah, they're all on the Braves, and I didn't want to list all Braves, so I listed a former Brave. Nobody else on that team is going to out homer Freddie.
Maybe
in a
I need
home
to
run
look
derby.
at the who made the
On
All-Star
the
team.
National League team,
Yeah,
out Homer Freddie.
unless you're a
Yeah.
Brave.
Nolan
Pete Alonso's
Arenado.
on there.
Pete couldn't do it in a home run derby. You going to pull him in for that?
Yeah,
He's got more-
1,000%.
Pete's hurt. He's that wrist ain't 100%.
Okay, Freddie Freeman's a better home run hitter than Pete Alonso. You heard
Right
it here.
now,
You heard it here, folks.
dude, Pete's hit like 3 homers since he hurt his wrist.
Actually, another Brave. I might put Albies in before I put Freddie in.
Dude,
honestly,
I want Albies in that home run derby. I want to see how the little guy go.
But hey, before we move off this All-Star weekend, I know we just got into it and we got sidetracked with Cooney's Braves talk again. But back to the home run derby real quick. I got to give a shout out to my boy Randy Rosarina for making that game fun, dude.
Yeah,
He brought out those cowboy boots. I thought he was about to start swinging in those,
he
and
should
I would
have.
have lost my mind. But to
Mhm.
Corey's
Showman.
point, he texted us in the first round that he went, and dude was straight arms. I mean, like he had a strategy in there, just going as fast as he could. But I mean, just like,
Yeah.
but I mean,
I can't
he
believe
made
to
it
the finals.
fun. So
Mhm.
he made it fun. Then we got to talk about Adley switching. I mean,
Oh, the best.
that was amazing. That was
With
really
his
cool.
dad pitching too. That's just cool.
Wait, because he's from that area as well. Like
Mhm.
he's from the Northwest. He went to school at Oregon
Okay.
State.
Also brings a question real quick. I know we just keep throwing in stuff here.
Yeah, we're all over the
But
place.
like-
All right.
We
But
haven't
like
talked in a while.
Skip said, curveball, right?
Uh-huh.
You make it to the home run derby, and I'll go first here. Who are you having throw your pitches? Maybe this
Like
will get
from
him
our-
on the
From our
podcast.
past?
Coach Schultz,
Oh,
man.
man.
Coach Allen.
I
Oh,
would
you're
do Coach
Coach
Allen
Allen.
too. For
All
sure,
right.
Coach Allen.
Coach
It'd
Allen.
be one of those, yeah.
I would need you. Come on the
Yeah.
pod, and then we can talk about the home run derby.
Yeah, there we go.
Fun story. My dad actually tore his rotator cuff throwing BP to me in Little League because I wasn't hitting very well. So he started trying to throw it harder to me, and he blew out his shoulder. So, not my dad. I'll tell you that. Absolutely not my dad.
Might get a couple pitches in.
Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
gonna call to the bullpen in the middle of the round. I need a timeout for my pitcher, please.
That's great.
But all right, are we
Yeah,
actually ready
the
to
other
move on?
highlight was cool how the
Okay.
All-Star game started. I don't know if you guys saw it. Like Acuna and Freddie both smoked them to the
Mhm.
fence, and the AL outfielders both made great catches right off the bat.
You know their names. They have names.
Who was it? Was it Garcia and right? I don't know who was playing in left. I don't know.
Randy.
Was it Randy in left? There you go. Yeah.
It was.
Mhm.
So that was a cool way to start. But
Because
other than that, I didn't get to watch it, and the highlights didn't seem like it was.
The mic'd up stuff on field is always
Yeah, we
is
need
always
more of
pretty
that.
cool to hear.
I don't
Yeah.
like it during actual games because I like it. That seems weird
Mhm.
to be talking to people, but I think it's I
Did
mean,
you hear
there's-
the segment when Otani was batting? The crowd is chanting
come to Seattle.
"Come to Seattle," and Freddie.
How do you
was,
chant that?
Yeah, the whole place was. And Freddie was on the
Seattle.
mic, and the announcer's like, "What about you? You want to come to LA?" And he goes, "Oh, that's
Mhm.
tampering. I can't do that right now."
yeah.
Yeah.
Then he said, "I think all 30
I think-
teams would love to have Shohei
Yeah.
come and play for him."
Yeah.
But no, it's a
I
fun
think-
weekend.
And I think it's I don't know, maybe I'm misreading this. I think it's a general sentiment, at least from what I see online, that I wish the teams would wear their actual jerseys.
Mhm.
Like when you
Yes.
watch old clips and it's like the 80s or the 90s or whatever, and it's like you can see, and the NL jerseys were trash.
Oh
I
my
thought.
God, they're
Wow.
so bad. The
And-
black pants with whatever color that shirt
Yeah,
was,
like a real dark blue.
terrible.
The helmets it looked like the Great Britain jerseys from the baseball classic. They just stuck an N
That's
on
what
the
I put
front
on
of it.
Twitter.
Man.
They said, "Who made these helmets?" And I put Great Britain.
It was bad.
Poof,
There
it
was a
ugly to
fun.
look
I
at,
should
man.
have saved it. I'll see if I can find it. Send you guys afterwards. But one random relief pitcher that made the All-Star team released his chats about the jerseys, and it's just great. He's like, "Fine, we could sell jerseys, but why are we wearing these different crappy pants? Nobody's gonna go out there and
Yeah.
buy these pants for the All-Star game."
I can't believe they did black pants with that shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's All-Star week, so we can keep talking about the All-Stars. So I'm going to continue.
Go for
I
it.
saw, and this is something that definitely needs to happen. We can all get behind this. Let me Google it real quick. So I didn't get to see the home run derby, but I saw, and I assume he used it. Did Luis Roberts have like a painted up bat that he used?
Yeah, a few people did.
A couple of people did, yeah.
And I'm sure MLB is like, oh, we banned this during actual games, but that would be sweet if players started having custom bats, and like if you could buy those, or maybe buy miniature versions if somebody has some sweet mural on a bat that you would have. But somebody just sent me
Sammy
that, and I was
Sosa
like,
had a
that's super
customized
cool.
bat.
Sure did.
On the
He did.
inside.
George Brett
Nice,
did too.
Jaylee. Nice.
I wonder. I think some of that is the color too. Like you can't have white on your barrel. I don't know. That might be something.
And yeah, I mean, I can see
Well-
that, but like that would be the only color I can think of,
Yeah.
unless you like paint it the same color as the catcher's
Don't put lights on it, so as soon as I hit it, it flashes and you can't see it.
flashbang grenade.
Yeah, flashbang bat. That'd be awesome. Let's put that in the new Slugfest.
But I mean, you know how like everybody loved the catcher stuff,
Mhm.
the mask. You just got to add some flair to it. And
Yeah, maybe we'll see that someday because you see more and more personalized gear on players, not having to stick to the 3 team colors. Going with neons, going with custom cleats, and it'll be
Mhm.
lightened up a lot on that. Other leagues haven't yet, but it is the best All-Star event. Other leagues, hockey, I guess, is decent.
Hockey's really good.
Yeah, I don't know much about hockey, but the NFL, they
Doesn't
cancel
even
it.
have one.
Yeah, NBA's
Yeah.
just take turns dunking. First one to 200 wins.
and you know this, but a lot of it's the nature of the sport. You can still
Mhm.
go hard in baseball and not have to worry about killing yourself and missing out on $100 million. So,
Exactly.
but yeah, no, you're right. It's Good time.
I kind of wish they'd find a way to make it more, I guess, more activities besides the home run derby. But I mean, I
Like
guess
some
it's
skills
tough to-
competitions or something.
Yeah,
Mhm.
something like that. But
That'd
I
be
don't really know
fun.
what more
Like
you can do.
outfielders chucking it home to a target.
Yeah, like out, yeah, like so you could hit like from the target from a certain distance.
Mhm. I
Um,
always enjoyed the celebrity softball game too, and they
Mhm.
don't even show it now. Like I don't even know.
yeah,
was
it's like on a
yeah.
rerun. Yeah.
Continue to shrink that down. Do you see Zach Levine hits a
Mhm.
homer and robs a homer? Like that would have been a fun thing to watch, and
Mhm.
he almost hit the homer out of the stadium, like it landed on the warning track.
It's a big dude.
So yeah, more fun stuff like that. The NBA does that well. I think the celebrity basketball game is always a blast. Getting to see that group of people,
Yeah.
except for Pools. And playing basketball was a little rough.
Oh,
He's got a
right.
baseball body.
Hey,
Man, what?
he has a
What a
retired
jerk.
baseball body.
So to really kick off the All-Star weekend though was the draft, which we're going to touch on. It was I had something about the players that were in the College World Series. This would just be a little fun fact, but this was the 10 guys I listed at the bottom here were the 10 guys in a mock draft that were in the College World Series, mocked to go in the top 30. So basically, 1/3 of the top 30 were players that were on the 8 College World Series teams. So you think of all the high school teams, all of the college teams, 1/3 of the projected first rounders, and they did all go in the top
Crazy.
30. Were on the 8 teams that were in the College World Series. And of course, the first 2 guys were from the national champion LSU Tigers and Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz. Skeens put up silly numbers. 13-2, 1.69 ERA. Joe, you'll love this. 209 strikeouts, 20 walks.
I saw it. I do, and I did, and I will
That's
continue.
that's 122 and a 2/3 innings. So
Mhm.
again, like the Ks per 9 and the K to walk ratio, outrageous. They're saying he's up there with Strasburg as far as collegiate pitchers coming out, and Mark Pryor, and those guys have some injury problems now.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, but we're great coming out of college. Dylan Cruz, I mean, again, his numbers just silly. In the SEC, best division in college baseball, hit 426. Again, walked 71 times, struck out 46 times. Like both these guys, just outrageous.
Mhm.
The one guy, the other guy that I really wanted to talk about was at number 6 out of Grand Canyon University, Jacob Wilson, the first guy picked, who is the son of a former major leaguer. Does anybody know who his dad is?
Wait,
Jack
what?
Wilson.
It is Jack Wilson. So there you go.
Holy
Jack
cow.
Wilson has his son gets picked number 6. That is the least. No offense to Jack Wilson, would not expect his son to be picked 6th in an MLB draft.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. So that was the
Jack could play some short, man.
Oh yeah.
I loved watching Jack Wilson. I know he didn't hit, but
Yeah. So his son right there coming
That's
up big. Wyatt Langford was another. So the big story in this draft was these top 5 guys were set apart from the rest of the draft. So poor Oakland got pushed out of that top 5. But there were some interesting names. Chase Dollander, like going into the collegiate season, was I think in the runnings to be the 1-1. Had a bad year. The Cubs, I thought they picked 13th, 12th, 13th or 14th. They had Tommy Troy taken right before him at Arizona. I thought that would have been great. A collegiate third baseman, that's because a lot of these collegiate bats are making a pretty quick
Yeah,
trip to the
you're
majors.
in a year.
They ended up going with a shortstop who hit a 507-foot home run and like didn't strike out much, who
Decent.
projects more as a second baseman though. So that'll get a little interesting. Again, a collegiate bat. But if you got Nico and you got Dansby and you got this guy who played shortstop, it's I forgot where he played now. But man, that's really gonna bum me out. But he doesn't really have a path. But they did throw Nick Madrigal, Maryland, played at Maryland. They did throw Nick Madrigal over at third, so I figure if Nick Madrigal can play third base, this guy
Anybody
can
can do
play
it.
third base too. But it was some interesting picks. Again, the cool thing was top two coming from the same school, but
First
very
time
well,
ever.
yeah, very well deserving top two.
Mhm.
I think the last time was Garrett Cole and Trevor Bauer went 1 and 3 whenever they were picked. Out of UCLA.
UCLA, yeah, the hype was always who's actually going to go number one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually excited for Pittsburgh to take the pitcher. Maybe Pittsburgh do what they were doing a couple years ago when they didn't trade Reynolds. They could be really good next year.
Mm-hmm.
If Skeens could be there at some point next year with the young arms that are already in their system and in the bigs a little bit. Yeah, Pirates could be really fun to watch next year. They could be the Reds like this year. That could be the
Mhm.
Pirates next year. Washington with Dylan Cruz. Yeah, he'll be up soon, probably. Maybe even next year to
Yeah.
start the season, but they're in bad shape. So
Yeah.
it'll be a while.
Skeens, I mean, I think that again the story with Skeens is that having watched a little bit of that College World Series, he's throwing 102. Like he's a guy that probably could get major league hitters out as it is right now. So
Mhm.
I think his progression could be to the majors could be pretty quick as well. Same thing with Rhett Lauder with Cincinnati. I know Cincinnati. If you can get Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo, and if Rhett Lauder ends up being anything, like because he was the ace of the number 1 seed Wake Forest team. If he can come up and progress pretty quickly, I think the big surprise by most people was the high school catcher Blake Mitchell with the Royals, because high school catchers typically don't pan out very well because it's whether that there's haven't really proven that they can do that as they progress. But it's we talk a lot about prospects, and these guys are not there obviously because they haven't played professional baseball yet, but they'll be fun names to keep an eye on. Some of these other guys down here at the bottom we can run through. Braden Taylor from TCU. Again, these are the 10 guys that were projected to go in the first round that were playing in the College World Series. Went to 19th to Rays. Looks like mostly a power guy. Average was okay. Kyle Teal, I know that there was a lot of surprise that he slid to 14th to the Red Sox. Catcher, he's mostly touted for his defensive abilities. He hit 407 though, so he's doing pretty good with the bat as well.
He's on my OTP Reds. That's right.
I think I almost asked you about him, but I figured it wasn't going to happen.
Seeing 3 catchers go in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what teams are thinking about long term on catchers. We've talked a few times about how going to be some changes coming to.
Yeah, that's a good point.
How balls and strikes are going to be called, and if you're taking a catcher in the first round, I don't know. I just I wonder what that draft room is like, or what that discussion is like, because they.
Yeah, it's good thought. Teal bats lefty as well, and he can play other positions. It's a nice piece for the Red Sox, but yeah, do you need to draft that high when the position is going to be obsolete in a couple of years?
I don't know if you Cardinals guys, the people they picked were not anybody that I was particularly familiar with. They took two outfielders the first 2 rounds, and then they took Quinn Matthews. Is that the guy that pitched?
They need some outfield help. They're short on outfielders.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. But Quinn Matthews, I think, was the guy that threw like 150 or 60 or whatever pitches in that complete game.
I was like, what?
I was wondering what you're
I was like,
going
you're about to say 150 miles
dang.
per hour. Like what?
No, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, struck out 16 and 156 complete game win. 156 pitch complete game win. So that was a big storyline when that happened. So he's probably used up all of his arm. He's gonna
Tommy John, but he's like.
There's a term I like to use when we do our fantasy drafts. You all know what the term is. Jay Lee, what's that?
Don't trade your picks.
Well,
so usually you quit halfway through the draft.
You always trade back. Don't ever trade up. But it starts with.
It's every pick you say this on, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Steal the draft.
Steal the draft, baby. Can you say steal the draft? That's all I see with the Cardinals draft here.
Yeah. Okay.
Perennial all-stars. They have a track record.
Well,
Yeah, they'll be
I
traded
saw
before then, but they will be perennial all
I
stars.
saw all the people the Cardinals drafted, and Randy Flores is actually in charge of like the draft process, surprisingly. And they actually gave the Cardinals a pretty good grade. And they said the problem isn't the people he drafted. Like Flores did a great job. It's like now who these people report to in player development is where the issue lies. So I thought that was actually kind of funny. But Chase Davis, I guess they've had their eyes on this kid, like right out of high school and stuff. So excited to see what he can do. It says most likely a corner spot, but they're hoping he can hang on to the center field eventually too. So power and a strong arm. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Enrique Bradfield went to the Orioles.
That's Corey's boy.
OOTP.
Yeah, OTP.
Speed. Great defense.
I drafted him and traded him to you.
That's true. You did. But
I also drafted Strider and Elder. Man, that's a good year.
Sorry. You're good. But no, it's fun to keep tabs on these guys and see where they go. As far because last year we had Holiday and Drew Jones, and it seemed like that was kind of the draft of people who had parents that played in the majors, and we got a guy. It's just Jack Wilson. So that was
trend continues.
Yep.
Which Drew Jones isn't playing that well, right?
He got hurt.
He got hurt his first day at BP last year.
Does he catch every fly ball like this?
Like this?
He does. He actually does the behind the back.
Man, I just remember Andrews at sign. He won like 10 little gloves.
Yeah.
But it was going back to the All-Star game, and maybe baseball's always been like this, but Bo Bichette and Vlad, and I feel like there's another one maybe. It's like, man, I always thought baseball was like the hardest sport, and you had to be like super special, which I still think you do, but there's something in these guys' genetics that, man, they're pumping out some super baseball players.
Are you bringing in a lefty reliever?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely some genes and I think some of it too is when your dad's been there, there's attention on you already, and so it's easier to be found.
Yeah, but
and you have all of the top stuff to perform with. Like you probably get to go to the batting cages and hang out with your dad in these professional facilities. So I'm sure that helps us a little bit.
You got the hitting coach giving you tips at 8 years old.
That's all I needed. I mean, there was one tiny miss in my path, and that's all I needed.
Like ships in the night.
The only kid we did talk about so far is Detroit's pick, Max Clark.
Yeah.
Overhype, or is he going to perform to the hype?
I have a hard time feeling any way about high school players.
When he a shortstop, this guy listed as an outfielder.
He's left-handed, so he absolutely wasn't a shortstop.
I'm an idiot.
You said it.
He's changing the game. He's changing the game, man. First left-handed shortstop.
Do it.
Well, I mean, it sounds like he's a legit kind of top of the order contact guy. I think center field, that's kind of where they project him to stay. So, I mean, if you can get.
Man, how hard is it to project a high school?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
15-year-old. I know. Yeah. I'm just saying.
That's because.
Go ahead. No.
That's because on these draft charts, let me make one real quick. Here's what they did in high school, and here's their potential. It's pretty easy to analyze this. Like, hey, this is what they did in high school, which is that, but here's what they could potentially do in the MLB. We don't really know.
Yeah.
That was deep, man. I was just talking about this the other day with somebody.
League doesn't call you to be their professional top of the
GM and scouting. We're good.
Just figured it out, man.
I was talking about this the other day with somebody. Because like Jason Worth came from where I live now, Chatham, Illinois. And I was like, I think Scott Riley still has the home run record. A little podunk town of Pittsfield. So we were talking about Scott Riley, looked it up. I'm like, that dude hit 500, 23 homers, 70 RBIs. Of course,
Yeah,
he got hurt.
why is he not getting drafted in the first round?
Yeah, I mean, he lots of arm trouble. As soon as he got to college, but still, first baseman, you don't need to throw. And the fact that he's not getting drafted, and it's just his stats are just insane. Shout out to Scott Riley.
Yeah, and I think especially because a lot of times you see with these high school players, they come from like schools that are, I feel like specifically created for athletes. Like I know there's some places in Florida that do that for like football,
Mm-hmm.
where but this guy like Max Clark, Franklin Community High School in Indiana, that seems relatively normal to me.
Yeah.
And then Walker Jenkins, the fifth pick to the Twins, South Brunswick High School in North Carolina. Like these are not like private school specifically for athletes. Like I think this is just he just went to this public school in Indiana, and again, I don't know what his stats were, but yeah, to your point, obviously things are different now than they were 20, probably 5 years ago. I don't.
Yeah.
Scott Riley's probably not that old, but
He's 4 years older than me.
He's getting close. And I guess scouts are probably at these games, but like, I don't want to accuse anybody of anything here. But there's some like there may be a little bit of book cooking, if you know what I mean, like on these stats.
I've never
allegedly.
seen any butt cooking.
yeah.
So like, I mean, if let's say you're like 10 games into the season and all of a sudden, this guy's got 42 homers and you got scouts showing up, like, is this legit? I don't know. That'd be funny, but
So I don't know how accurate. Well, no. So I mean, so Max Clark won Indiana Baseball Player of the Year 2 or 3 years in a row. I have his Max Preps page up. It looks like he only played 28 games his senior year. He hit. Oh man, that's got volume in it. I thought when he was talking to me, he hit 646 in 120 plate appearances, 6 home runs. I mean nothing.
6. That's
Yeah, I mean nothing really jumps off the page except that he hit 646, which is that does jump off a page.
Mhm.
But again, if he can turn into that leadoff center fielder guyer, like that's pretty great.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for the rundown on all these prospects. All these guys we're not too familiar with, so it'll be interesting to see where they all come out.
One thing I'll add is I know we'd all like to see the draft become like the NFL draft or even the NBA draft. I think somebody said before we started, like there was only 3 players at the.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, and just the nature of it, they're going to get drafted, and then most of the time we're not going to even like hear about them for another 3 or 4 years. So it's hard for fans to get excited. So I don't know what you do to make that happen, but it's a little sad that there's not as much of excitement as there is with the other sports.
I would think though, like you're pointing out that a third of the first round were in the College World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I think you knew those guys beforehand were going. Like I don't know if Skeens and Cruz were there. They were 1 and 1, 1A, 1B. So like I don't know what it would take to get them there. Maybe invite them to the All-Star festivities.
Well, I mean, like they had
let a college guy, let Cruz hit the home run derby. I don't know.
Yeah, it would be better if it was a little bit more of an interesting event. I feel like there's been more people in attendance. Like last year, I feel like
this was lower, I think, than it has been since MLB Network tried to televise it and stuff.
Because like Justin Crawford, Carl Crawford's son, like I remember all of these like younger, or like all of these sons of former players like were there. Because maybe not, because I remember not Jackson though, because I remember seeing him sitting next to Matt in the camera or at home. But I do remember a lot more players coming up during the draft. But that's this again, shocker. This took a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but it's fun. So what do we got coming up here, Joe?
I got a couple things. I I've had plenty of time to kind of think, which I need all the time in the world. A few things, I guess there was more than a few things that happened over the past couple of weeks, but one thing that happened was his face for the Yankees had the perfect game, right?
Yes.
Herman.
What's his face had a game, right? Possibly.
There was somebody.
Um,
Might have been the Yankees. It might have been somebody else.
well, correct
the
me if I'm
Lexington
wrong. There was any of that
Counterclocks.
wrong?
No, you're right. But
His name is Domingo Herman.
he also got suspended 10 games earlier this year.
And had
Attaboy.
a different game.
So I just saw this little chart and screenshotted it, and it was rare feats in MLB games.
Mm-hmm.
So you all might have saw it, but just to look at some of the crazy things. How do I want to play this? Let's see how good you guys are. We won't make this too long. Haha, yeah, right. We're going another try. How many times do you think 3 home runs has happened in a game? Let's just do one person here. Aaron, you look like you want to answer.
Hurry up, pick.
Let's say it happens twice a year, so 400.
480 times it's happened in the history.
Good choice.
Not bad math there, Cooney.
Yeah, it was horrible math, but it worked out.
And I will say I won't go in
around 200 years.
any specific order. So how about hitting for the cycle? Jay Lee, how many times does that happen?
Let's see. I'd say it happens about twice a year. So I'm gonna say 223 times.
Oh man, good choice. 343. No hitters. Corey.
210.
319.
Yeah.
Immaculate
Dummy.
innings. Aaron.
4 times a year, so 631.
114. Step down.
Wow, after that, more often. Okay.
And then getting back to the perfect game, Jay Lee, how many perfect games have been thrown in the history of MLB? Listeners, make sure you're out there guessing as well.
21.
There's been 24 perfect games.
Oh man, I was so close.
How about 4 home runs in a game? Cooney, let's jump back to you. You did good on the 3 home
No,
runs.
that's fine. I don't need it.
Corey, I got you with the next one. You're gonna like it.
12.
18.
Ooh,
Which 10 RBIs, Corey.
6.
16. Unassisted triple plays, Jay Lee.
Rafael for call.
Unassisted?
Yep.
13.
15.
Gosh, dang.
And here's a depressing one,
Better
man.
than I thought.
How many times has a perfect game been lost on the 27th batter? It's happened 13 times.
I knew of 2.
All right, let's go ahead and jump up to the top 3. Striking out 20 and 9 innings. How many times has that happened?
20 and 9 innings.
Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
Ryan and Wood. There's only 2, right? I'll say
Well,
4.
I don't have the names of who's done it, but it's happened 5 times.
Oh,
Roughly,
I thought Clemens had one.
yeah. Roughly once every 47,000 games. How about 3 hits in 1 inning? Jay Lee, how many times has that happened?
3 hits? Like
3 hits in 1 inning.
Pass through the order 3 times.
Like I bat 3 times in 1 inning and get 3 hits.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I've never seen that.
I'm gonna say 6.
That's happened 3 times, roughly once every 78,500 games. And then, I mean, you can make up as many categories as you wanted to, right? But the rarest feat, which was listed on this, it's happened 1 time, and it happened in one specific inning. And
2 grand slams.
It was done by the greatest National League franchise. 2 grand slams in 1 inning by the one, the only Fernando Tatis Sr.
Senior.
All right, I got to piggyback on Joe's last one there before that.
Yeah, go ahead.
One player has gotten 3 hits in an inning since 1900. We all know him. Happened in 2003, to give you a reference. At that time, he was an all-star.
Chipper.
Regularly. Chipper? Who else? Everybody's going to get one guess?
Sotaguchi.
Sotaguchi. Who'd you say?
Luis Gonzalez.
It was Johnny Damon for the Red Sox against the Marlins. The Red Sox won
That was closest.
25-8.
That's the only time since 1900.
Since 1900, according to the people, real quick. They're two guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna
that-
guess some of these. I don't know.
That's
A lot of
crazy.
the
I
other
don't
ones.
remember that at all. That's the same.
So 2 grand slams in 1 inning every 235,000 games. We can look forward to one of those. So
So if there's
What
about
if, what if
one,
Junior's the next one to do it? How crazy would that be?
but he
That'd be-
was his
that'd be
from
awesome.
his was from both sides of the plate?
He's
Or was that
righty.
something else? Somebody hit a home run in the same inning from both sides of the plate.
Didn't Bellhorn do that? Or was it Miller?
I don't know. Oh
I
gosh,
feel like
here
it
we
was one of
go.
those guys, Cubby Red Sox dudes. That's crazy. That's fun.
Oh
Thanks.
yeah, it was Carlos
Ooh.
Baerga, Mark Bellhorn, and Kendrys Morales.
Mark Bellhorn, baby. Look at that poll.
1 if by sea, 2 if by land, and 3 if.
3 if by Erga.
Yeah, it's one of the best ESPN lines
Dude.
of all time.
Chris Berman, man. Let's get Berman on the pod, huh?
Yeah, 100%. Let's circle those wagons, baby. The other thing, and I think there was a reason that this popped into my head, but I can't remember the reason, but we're still gonna go with it. And so I'll preface this by saying, number one, I gotta keep myself calm because I'm already getting excited and getting ready to talk about it, and I gotta keep it plausible, I guess. Jay Lee, I have to tell you the same thing. Don't get ridiculous. Cooney, you're next to not get too ridiculous. Corey, I know you'll keep it straight. So
Thanks, man.
I don't even know what this means.
I know. I don't know
So-
if I should be offended or not. Jared
so
gets more
again, I
excited
don't
than
know
do.
where it was probably on one of the walk-off losses that the Cardinal had, but so I think, if you could end a game in a way, I think we're probably all choosing hit a walk-off bomb and then just crawl around the bases. So you can't pick walk-off homer, but if you could end a game by a play that you made yourself, whether that's in the field or batting, what would that, and I didn't give you any time to think about this. What would you guys pick, listeners? What would you pick? Again, you can't pick walk-off homer. That's too elite. So let me see who I think's already got something in mind. Anybody want to go first?
I'll go first.
All right. Cooney, what are you ending the game on?
2 things pop my head, so I'm gonna pull Corey.
Hey, you get one. Here's a couple.
One's defensively though. It'd be awesome to rob a homer to end the game. Like if it goes
Mhm.
out, they win. If I catch it, we win. So I've never robbed a homer. Jared's been close. The other thing though, stealing home, just like a straight steal of home to win the game. That'd be cool.
Benny the Jet Rodriguez. Who's up in the booth making that call? Is it me?
No,
Am I your Smalls?
you're not my Smalls.
Oh man.
Go ahead,
Aw.
Corey.
No, I think mine would be it's a little bit more convoluted. You said I'd be down to earth here, but you think of like a first and third scenario as the catcher. Like if they try and do like a double steal and you could actually throw the guy out at second and then the guy breaks from third and then you get him at home also. Like can you like
Like
that?
a
It's
little
just
double, like a little doubler.
yeah, it's a you get the double, you get 2 caught. I don't know who gets the credit for the second caught stealing, but you get the guy trying
A
to steal second.
2-6-2 caught stealing.
Yeah, like that would be. I mean, I think as far as like a defensive plays, obviously robbing a homer is pretty electric, but that would be pretty. Especially you think if it's a 1-run game or something like that, and you get
And
2 outs.
then they review it and they see that you blocked the plate, and now
That's
they actually
true.
reverse the call. The guy scored and you lost.
That rule needs to be in the toilet.
What a walk off.
Yeah.
That'd be a tied game anyway, Joe. So that's okay.
No, the ball went by. Both runners got. The guy at second was safe too.
Second
I'm on-
was safe too.
I'm on the same page there, Joe. I got it. I picked it up.
Jared, what you got?
You said I don't.
Jay Lee,
You said I don't. I don't get to be ridiculous. Is that what you told me?
I completely rescind that
There's a
statement. You can be
panther
absolutely
in the
as
outfield.
Okay, no.
ridiculous as you want.
So, like Cooney, I got two. The first one's real quick. There would be probably nothing sweeter, since I did pitch, to just blow one past someone for the final strikeout. I mean, that would probably be a super cool feeling. The other one is a bit ridiculous. So I'm playing shallow center field, right? Like Jim Edmonds used to. Jim
yep.
Edmonds made all these great plays, right?
Mhm.
And playing shallow, I get burnt or I deke them like I'm getting burnt. And I mean, just turn around, sprint, make that diving catch, but he tags up. And I
Runner
just
on third, baby.
fire a rocket right into home plate. Get him out.
Yep.
Game over. Thanks for
Corey
playing.
blocks the plate. It's overturned.
Yep, sorry.
I don't know. Nobody
Oh,
said
man.
the Savannah Bananas fan catching the foul ball to end the game.
Yeah.
So
That would be cool too.
And then gets to celebrate with the team.
yeah, because that could still happen to us, guys.
Let's go.
We need to go buy 4 tickets all around the stadium. So
I
that
don't
we can
think
get some
there's
final
assigned
out.
seats there.
And then, like,
Oh, even better.
take a glove that's like I'm shaping the glove right now.
2 hands, both hands go in my glove, and I close it like this.
Oh gosh.
I don't know
So
what
I
was talking about.
think
Getting ridiculous.
I think you guys kind of all spoke about the ones I had thought of as well. What I'm thinking of right now is robbing a homer, but getting so high on the fence because my hops are elite that it hits me like mid calf and I flip over the fence, not behind like chain where you can see, but to where I disappear and nobody knows what's going on. And maybe the official ruling would be a homer because the ball's over there, but I come back up super sad and depressed, like we just lost the game, and I get all the way back into the infield, and I just raise my glove
The
with
guys
the ball.
already
And they
got
actually
around
have a
home.
camera to where they can replay it, and I caught it.
The guys already got home. They're all celebrating.
Yeah,
Joe's
they've-
on the mound. Like,
Yeah.
I like it.
So
Yeah, glad we
li-
did get ridiculous, Jared.
listeners,
Glad that was a
listeners,
normal
comment
concept there.
Or a
and
cool
do you
little
think?
walk-off hidden ball trick like Rookie of the Year. Gotcha.
Hey, we
Yeah,
could have met him.
We could have
Didn't
met
we?
him. Yeah, floated.
Yeah.
Well, that was a fun segment. Thanks, Joe. Got anything else to add there? Or are we moving on to predictions?
That's all I got. Let's get some predictions and wrap her up.
Alrighty. So going into this, Joe still in the lead, barely, with a 29-23 record. Aaron and Jared right behind him with a 28-24, and I'm there somewhere. So
Are we starting standings and having a first half and a second half champ, or are we going straight through?
It's up to you guys.
I think we decided to split it. The winner of the first half had a $500 reward, and then we were going to do the second half.
And the loser has to pay it, right?
Yeah, the
Well,
loser
otherwise,
has to pay
Jared,
that.
Yeah.
whoever has last place has to play it.
I guess we're gonna keep going to the end then.
All right. You still got a chance, Corey.
I still got a chance. I'm really not that far behind, but I do have some ground to make up. The first series we have is the 2 teams at the top of the NL Central. It'll be a very interesting series. See where they're at the end of it. Is the Brewers at Reds. Brewers actually, I'm a little confused by the Reds rotation
Get
coming
everybody extra rest, maybe.
out of the break. Because right now they're projected to have Ashcraft, Abbott, and Lively going. That being said, I'm still going to take the Reds because I just think that I don't know, the Brewers are
No.
boring, and the Reds are more fun. So, Jared, I guess you're taking the Reds.
I picked the Reds.
Joe,
Have you guys actually watched the Reds?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're great.
Not a single game.
They do
except for
everything
they beat the
well.
Cardinals.
I actually watch the
Um,
Reds more than I watch any other team now. It's the only team I watch.
And you watch Andrew Abbott, and you're like, yeah, I mean, this guy's stuff.
I have not
just
seen
like
him pitch yet.
Please watch him and let me know what you think.
Tom Glavine, man.
So
Anyway.
I'm taking the Brewers.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm going
Okay,
Reds.
thanks for your permission.
You're welcome.
We'll allow it. These are all good series,
I wanted,
though. These
I
are all
wanted
important series. Kick off
somebody
the
to
second
take
half.
yeah, yeah. So the next one is the Guardians at Rangers. Guardians kind of, I don't know that I want to say they surged into the break. They did fine. The Rangers limped a little bit into it. I think the Guardians are gonna keep at it, and the Rangers are gonna keep not at it. And I'm gonna take the Guardians.
That's a hot take.
Dang
Yep.
it.
You took who?
Guardians.
Oh, thank goodness I picked the Rangers. Whew.
Joe.
They got to get to 15 up somehow. Guardians.
I picked the Guardians. I haven't been high on either of these teams. I think, like I said, Texas is going to start that downward trend.
Deep
I think
in
they're
the
in it.
heart of Texas.
Yeah.
So Guardians.
If you're going to play in Texas,
You gotta have a fiddle in the band.
you got to have a Marcus Simeon on your team.
Next one is the Astros at Angels. I want full chaos. I want Otani traded. I think that will be one of the most fun things of a deadline if you're not an Angels fan, which I'm not, so great for me. So I'm gonna take the Astros. I assume you're taking the Angels, Jared.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll just fill yours in whenever we have an Astro series.
I didn't even
I
write
almost-
the Astros down.
I almost took the Astros as my second half team. So I think I took Astros.
You went with the Angels. Sweet. Good job.
Astros.
I actually had a similar feeling to Corey. I want the Angels to start off horribly on this homestand so that Otani can get out of there. We can watch Otani and playoff baseball. So Astros.
All right. Next
And I'm 3
one.
for 3 matching Corey, so this isn't looking good
You
for me.
sure are. Marlins at Orioles. Both. I guess I'll say the Marlins are good. The Orioles are definitely good.
They have almost the same record.
Yeah, but they are the Marlins are
Okay,
bad.
stat man.
That
man.
It's more like the scat
Yeah.
man.
Shibbity-boo bop 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 doo. I'm gonna take the Orioles. It's at home.
Yay!
Even if they are evenly matched teams, I think they get the advantage there. Which I don't think they're evenly matched teams, but if they were.
One's got pitching, one's got hitting.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the pitching of the Miami here. I'll go Marlins.
Okay, Jared, are you taking the hitting?
Show
team?
me Baltimore.
Yep.
I got
assume,
Marlins as well.
yeah, based on your woo from
Oh,
not
did
picking-
I jump out a turn there?
You did.
It's
You did.
okay.
Oh my
Oh, we
bad.
went with it. It's fine.
We'll forgive you.
Thanks, man.
If the Marlins win, that you don't get the win then. So
Yeah.
that's the
Didn't
only
count. You're out for
disqualifier.
batting out of order.
I'll win the other four. It's good.
The
Probably.
last one is Padres at Phillies. I already spoke about how I think the Phillies are turning around. I don't think the Padres are going to. I kept quiet earlier. I don't know what's going on there, but they have all the talent in the world, but they can't put it together. If they haven't done it by now, I don't think they're going to do it.
I think we've already talked about it. Go ahead.
I'm taking the Phillies.
Take the Phillies.
I'm done.
The San Diego Fathers.
Joe?
The Friar Tucks. San Diegan.
Can I do a split again? I took the Phillies.
All right. So we've
So I
got
almost matched Corey, guys.
You
This
sure
is not
did.
looking Good.
3-1.
About to move into first place.
3-1 Reds over Brewers, 3-1 Guardians over Rangers, 3-1 Astros over Angels, split on Orioles Marlins, and split on Phillies Padres. I look forward to being closer to first place than I am right now next week.
At least not
You
farther
never
away,
did
right?
say how many you have. What is your score?
21 and 31. So I
So
am
you're 7 back, a second, 8.
yes,
Okay.
correct.
29, 28, 28, 21. Okay. Not bad. I mean, it's pretty bad, but it's not bad. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we've got a couple more weeks in July leading up to the trade deadline. So we'll have a pretty normal schedule next week, but I'm sure as it gets closer, we'll be highlighting any big deals that go down. So we'll keep you posted on that week to week. And we'll be back again next week with some more Rakings and some more MLB talk.
Yes.
Sell.
All right. Until next time, don't forget to trade
Rake
all
your
players.
position.
Oh.
I forgot.